Hello. Yeah. Woof. I was gonna say it's funny that this episode's called Too Many Games. Meanwhile, the actual event, Too Many Games, is going on right now. Yeah. Yeah, so to anyone listening, we're not there. Yeah, it's the Screenwave convention. All the stars are there. The angry video game nerd, I think Scott the Woz. All the stars are there. True. Mm-hmm. Pretty good. I drank my coffee. I'm ready to talk about video games.
I
Yeah.
woke up after 3 hours of sleep.
Cool.
AMA.
I was gonna
I
say
had
probably
a-
sleeping.
I had a very long day yesterday. It was my birthday. I was alone.
Happy birthday!
Whoa. At the end of the day, I decided to do an experiment. Wait.
Yep.
Can't hear
That,
Nan?
I just realised why. Yep. All right. Now you can hear me. All that intro.
Were you muted the whole time?
I think I was.
Uh-oh.
I think my audio was just like ridiculously low because I turned it down.
Oh, man.
Well,
Oh boy.
first good morning source gaming in 6 months.
Yes.
Off to a great start.
Woefully unprepared. That is the
shows how long
name of the
Yeah.
game, baby.
Setting up the stream and then forgetting to change features. Too busy trying to get background music's working and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
for saying that, Rivers. Whoops.
Yesterday, I rolled a random number generator
Yeah.
to determine how many characters I would cut from the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. And I landed on 62. So I put every character on a wheel. And this was the final roster.
Oh my god.
Send it to me.
Wow.
I'll,
This
post
is the Super Smash Brothers reboot roster.
This is the Smash for phones. Roster.
Hold on a sec. Let me get it onto the screen. Where have I just thrown it? There we go. There we go. Who are you picking out of these? King Dedede is still here, so I'm all for this. And Dark Pit is still here, so hell yeah.
Yeah, dark pit moment.
You just can't be cut. And Piranha Plant, wow, you've really kept all just the best options.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything that the community loves.
All the favorites.
So, as I repeating what I said when I was muted, whoops. It's the first Good Morning Source Gaming of 2023. But we're here now because Gamer Christmas is come and gone, and we have a whole bunch of games and showcases and all that to talk about. So I thought it would be fun for us to sort of share what our highlights were for the games that were revealed, like what were our most anticipated stuff, and also talk about just in general how were the showcases, which ones were good, which ones were god awful. You know, that usual post E3 thing without the E3.
Yeah, all that shit.
Yeah, and
All that consumerism.
But before we get to that, as is always tradition on Good Morning Source Gaming, let's talk about what we're playing right now.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What have we been playing? Well, I had a tragic loss in the gaming family where when my Steam Deck SD card stopped being read over the weekend. So there goes. I mean, like, I didn't really lose like oh no, not my my rare install of Half-Life 1 or whatever, but that does set back my gaming agenda a few weeks.
Damn.
So I pulled out the Nintendo Switch, and I've been playing the new Arcade Archives release of Splatterhouse, the original arcade, which I also played the actual Splatterhouse arcade cabinet this month, because I went to a barcade earlier this month.
Nice.
So Splatterhouse is the game of the month, I guess. It's a good game. I like it's a little basic. It's like a little simple for what it is, but it's like I don't know. It's like it's visually so fucking cool.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played a single Splatterhouse game. Like I know of the series, I know of the original Splatterhouse, and didn't one just come to Switch, like an arcade archives of it?
Yeah, so the arcade archives of the original released, and that's a good game. And then there's two more Splatterhouse games on the Genesis, Splatterhouse 2 and 3, and they fucking rock. Those games are actually sick, and they're like super underrated. No one ever talks about them. They've barely been re-released. And then there's that really funny modern one from 2010 that doesn't really run well on anything because it's like very clearly unfinished, but it's fun, whatever. I mean, I had a good time. If it was backwards compatible, that probably would, like, fix all the performance issues or whatever, but
it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Damn. It's like a beat 'em up, right? Or at least the original.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all like beat 'em up brawlers. They're just all gross and nasty.
Fair.
That's the name of the game.
Fair. I wonder. I mean, yeah, because it's just been released on Switch. Oh, they're all so old, other than the 2010 one.
Yeah.
I can't see, because Namco's been on a tirade of re-releasing like a bunch of their old series and stuff.
Well, they were supposed to. There was a trademark for a Splatterhouse. Whatever the new. What are they calling their new line of remasters?
They don't have a fixed name anymore, but I think they were like originally touted as like the Reverie series or something.
Yeah, what was like the Klonoa one called?
Shit, what was the Klonoa one called?
Because that was like
Klonoa Fantasy Reverie. So actually, yeah, I think they probably are keeping Reverie, because Katamari is also called Katamari. The new one anyway is called Katamari Royal Reverie.
Yeah, there was a trademark leak from years ago that the original plan was Katamari. Encore. That's what it was.
Encore.
They were gonna do Katamari Encore. They were gonna do Klonoa Encore, and then they were gonna do a Splatterhouse Encore. But that has never happened. As far as we're aware, there was like one random person like years ago that was like, "It's canceled. Stop expecting it." So, yeah, sad day. So who knows what the fuck that was?
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I am kind of excited for more of the Namco games, though. I don't know what it is. I've just sort of randomly. I bought Katamari. We Love Katamari because I love that series, and I like the remake of the first one. And then I randomly there was a deal on a local online store here where you could get if you bought a game from this list, you got a pair of like gamer headphones, I guess, for 1p, like proper over the head.
Yeah.
So like I was like, oh, 1 penny for headphones? Sure, I'll buy one of these random games. But the only game that looked interesting from the list was Pac-Man World Repack. So I got that. So I was playing that for a bit as well. I think actually, and I already had Mr. Drill. I think the Klonoa is the only one of these Namco Encore games I haven't bought yet.
Well, if they need market research on whether or not people would buy Splatterhouse what would they call it? Rechained or something?
Yeah, slice.
Right here. Recut! Recut! Come on!
Recut
Come on!
Yeah.
Repulped. Ooh.
I wonder if that Bat and Kaitos bundle that's coming out, 1 and 2 HD remaster, are sort of considered under the same thing, because that's also, you know, Bandai Namco. And I'm assuming Bat and Kaitos 2 isn't Bat and Kaitos Origins, is it? There are 3 Bat and Kaitos games, right? Actually,
Yeah, I won't.
yeah, I actually don't know, because I knew there was the first one. I knew there was Origins, but I didn't know there was a 2. But they're not calling this one 2, so I don't know.
Oh, gamer update. Splatterhouse 2 was on the Genesis Mini 2.
Oh, okay.
And it was on the virtual console, but they haven't brought it to like
NSO yet.
Yeah, they haven't brought it to NSO. It would be great though.
It might happen.
Games, it might.
Yeah. You just need to get another Genesis update. They seem to do them really sporadically. But yeah, in terms of what I've been playing a whole lot of Pikmin at the moment.
Ooh.
Yeah, I wasn't going to, but then I thought, oh, why not? And decided I'd get in the Pikmin vibe. Because now that all 4 of them, well, the 4th one obviously coming out, all the mainline Pikmin games are on the Switch, I thought it might just be fun in my sort of get downtime between Zelda and Pikmin 4 to just play them again, back to back.
I was gonna say, how are the new like
ports?
Well, they're ports. Yeah, there's no other.
So I think they're both pretty good. You could tell that like they haven't done any. These are straight up just like HD. I guess upscaling would be the right term. Like,
yeah, they are
the same.
Yeah,
the graphics are emulated.
Yeah, so like it looked like the UI and stuff looks super crisp, but like comparing it to say Pikmin 3, for example, it looks significantly more low poly.
Yeah,
but I think it's held up pretty well. The one complaint I think I would have is that I don't think the motion controls from the Wii version are emulated very well. Because
you don't have that
to turn them on and off, and
you don't have that sensor bar.
Yeah, so like I've had the motion controls on for both. I've beaten all of Pikmin 1 to 100%. Now I'm playing through Pikmin 2, and I just don't think the motion controls work as nicely. It's like I can tell they're on because I can like it doesn't just like I can feel the thing that I'm using, you know, the marker to show where I want my Pikmin to go. I can see it's moving even if I'm not moving the stick.
Yeah.
But it's not like moving where I want to be pointing, for example. It's kind of just moving slightly as my hand moves. I don't know. I just don't think it's as good as what the Wii... I think the Wii version still has the most superior control scheme for this game. But outside of that, they're both very, very nice, and they look really good on the OLED. Pikmin 2 especially looks super crisp when playing it on like the OLED screen.
I was gonna say, like, did they do anything with the touchscreen? Can you?
No, not that. To be fair, I haven't.
Damn.
I didn't actually try. It didn't
okay.
even cross my mind. But I feel like I probably would have heard someone mentioning it.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would have been like very obvious.
Yeah, I think what's the funny thing about this is because I'm playing them back to back. So like I started with Pikmin 1. And like it's fun, but then going to play Pikmin 2, you sort of feel like all the fixes they made, all the balancing they did between Pikmin 1 and 2. Like yellow Pikmin are just like completely situational in Pikmin 1. They're easily the most useless of the 3 Pikmin types. But they like Pikmin 2 balanced it quite nicely, so you have to use all 3 of them like throughout. And I thought that was pretty good. And Pikmin 1 definitely feels more arcadey. Like, once you beat the game, it gives you, like, a high score and stuff like that and encourages you to play it through it again to try and lose less Pikmin on your next run. And given the game is only, like... I beat Pikmin 1 in basically one day. Like, not even, like, just a sitting. I did it just in breaks and then after work. And I beat all of Pikmin 1, so it's a very short game.
Uh-oh, gamers. Breaking news. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Starfield will not have a physical disc
Oh shit.
in any edition of the game. It will just not have a disc at all.
Why?
According to Bethesda support, hello, all physical editions will include a code for the chosen platform. There are no physical discs.
What?
That's been like a weird trend I've noticed over the last month, is just suddenly a bunch of like AAA games going, actually, we're all digital now. Because Alan Wake is going all digital. There's like one, what was it? Like a Dragon apparently might not be getting a physical.
Why though? Like, surely it doesn't cost that much to print discs, does it?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it's like a money saving technique where it's like, oh, let's just like not print physical copies. Save the.
Might be because the games are structured in a way that they can't really split them off.
Yeah, that might be too. They can't fit everything on the disc. I do know some companies. I know like Nintendo have they have policies for like how much of like a game or a collection should be like on the cartridge playable. But I don't know if that's the case with Xbox, because at the beginning of the generation they didn't give a shit if you didn't put anything on the disc. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can see like why Like a Dragon Gaiden wouldn't have a physical physical edition. Sorry, because even though the Yakuza series, the Like a Dragon series now is like getting more popular, it still feels like in that ballpark, kind of like the Ace Attorney games, where they can just get away with making it digital because they don't feel like enough people will buy it still. Especially Gaiden being a spin-off side story, as the name implies. They probably expect it to sell less than the numbered Yakuza games. So
just sucks. Yeah. it's just like I feel like my new attitude towards explaining how I feel about stupid shit in the industry is just to be like, we can admit it's annoying, right? like it's like it definitely is like patronizing. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, again, back to Pikmin 2 very quickly. I've always preferred Pikmin 2 to Pikmin 1. It's definitely far more frustrating though. Like the randomly generated caves can sometimes be complete bullshit. Like putting water in paths. I posted a clip on Twitter yesterday, just of like a section where I have to cross water to get to the end. There's just no way around it. So I'm like chucking Pikmin across one by one, and then having the other like captain pick them up on the other side before they fall in the water, because it's like the only way I can get across without them all dying. And it's like, it shouldn't be like this, because it's not like this is a water exclusive dungeon. It told me it would have everything in here, and then it's just got nonsense like this. So it can be super annoying. It's also kind of funny. I think it's made me, playing this has made me appreciate what Pikmin 3 did a lot more. Because the two captain system in Pikmin 2 definitely feels like it's half-baked, I guess. Like, it was new at the time to have two captains, but because they can't work autonomously, effectively you're just saving time on stuff that you would have already been able to do in Pikmin 1 anyway with a single captain.
Yeah.
Whereas Pikmin 3, because they had like a bit of AI and could work autonomously, and you could guide them to places like pause it and tell them where to go, it feels like you can like manage everything a lot better and that you can get more stuff done in a single outing. Whereas the second captain in this game feels more like a bonus rather than... It doesn't take away from the game or anything, but it made me realise how much better Pikmin 3 made it. And I'm wondering if Pikmin 4 will have multiple captains, because we've seen the Castaways and we've seen that they've got an upgrade system, but I'm not sure if they've shown us two playable captains at the same time. It'd be interesting if they cut that from the game after having it in 2 and 3. But I guess we'll find out in like less than a month.
Yeah. I'm very curious. I certainly want to like pick up the ports of Pikmin 1 and 2.
And you're waiting for the physical.
I was gonna say, like, how do we feel on this type of stuff? Like, because personally, I think I would much prefer Nintendo doing releases like this, where they're like, hey, you like the fucking old ones? Here they are. They're like, we didn't put forth the effort of like totally remastering them. We just made sure they look good and the UI is updated and it's out now and you can play it.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for that. I honestly do not think every video game needs a remaster or a remake. Just fucking port it over, warts and all.
Yeah, I think I'm all for it when it's a game that's like not very easy to get and it's one that holds up still. Like I think Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2 benefit from still playing really well. And
Yeah.
they've clearly made some adjustments to fit the Switch and all that. It's not just straight up ports. It's like, you know, it's kind of like what they did for Super Mario Sunshine. In the All-Star thing. And like, I'm also, obviously, if they want to go the extra mile like they did with Metroid Prime and update all the graphics and make it look beautiful, go for it. But for a lot of games on the GameCube and the Wii era, I think I'm alright with them being upscaled effectively. It's that trend that we saw in the latter half of the Xbox 360 PS3 life cycle, where companies were releasing like the original Metal Gear Solid collection.
Yeah.
Just like upscaled versions of those games.
Yeah.
Or the original Resident Evil 4 HD, which was just that. Nintendo's finally getting on this trend, and I think I'd have more of an issue with it if they were charging like full price for these. But so far,
yeah, no,
they've
they've
them at budget prices, which is good.
Yeah, it's like they're like I mean it's like 50 together, but can't you buy each one separately for like $30 or something?
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
fine.
Yeah, and I mean, Pikmin 2 is definitely worth that. I don't know if Pikmin 1's worth that, but I know why they price them the same.
Yeah.
And when they're bundled together, I think it's perfectly fine because you're paying more so for Pikmin 2. But yeah, I'm comfortable with them doing this. I feel like they're going to. Obviously, there's been rumors about F-Zero, which is meant to be more like Metroid Prime, and then rumors about Paper Mario, which is probably going to be more like... Well, maybe it's also like Metroid Prime. Who knows when we see it. But I could see them doing Wind Waker and Twilight Princess finally, and it just being the Wii U version straight up. No changes for budget.
It would be cool if they just remastered them.
They just did the GameCube games.
Or they just ported them over. Like, I think I would prefer that.
And then if, like, Luigi's Mansion is the other one, with Luigi's Mansion 2 being announced for next year, and it feels like that game they're sort of pushing more as a Skyward Sword HD sort of deal, where it's going to be full price. But I could see them just releasing Luigi's Mansion as a budget, and being like, yeah, here you go. It's just the GameCube game with maybe Luigi added in like he was in the 3DS port of the game.
Yeah, I am really curious about that. I would have thought they would have ported the first Luigi's Mansion over first. But
you'd think so, but I feel like if they just, for whatever reason, obviously you can't really call it a trend because it's only happened twice, but they've just been shadow dropping these GameCube games, and the fact they have no problem shadow dropping Pikmin 1 and 2 like literally less than a month before the fourth game comes out. Like, you think that might be too much Pikmin for the average consumer. They're
never.
Probably fine with just dropping Luigi's Mansion out of nowhere like a month or two before the Luigi's Mansion 2 comes out.
That would be really funny.
Yeah. Like, just drop it next February.
We all know you've been anticipating the Luigi's Mansion 2 port. Here's Luigi's Mansion 1. Gotcha.
The whole collection on Nintendo Switch. But there are some games, though, that I think would need a graphical boost. Like, I mentioned it on Discord, but Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, and Radiant Dawn, both great games. I'd really want to see them remade. But, like, some of the models in that game, especially the lower poly ones when they're on the map, just look very bad. They look like N64 level models. And so if I had the choice for those two games, I think I would rather them redo the graphics, keep the gameplay as same, keep the all of that, both the good and the bad, but do up the graphics for that one, please. But then other games like the other Metroid Primes, obviously we've had the first Metroid Prime, but I still think Metroid Prime looked good back in the day anyway. So if they did go ahead with 2 and 3 and just had it look like the GameCube and Wii game, yeah.
I mean, honestly, I understand being like a little disappointed when these old games aren't like brought forward and like don't have like the graphical presentation to match like other remasters and other modern releases, but like I don't know, I don't really give a shit.
Well, this is kind of like the only time Nintendo can really do this, right? Because back
Yeah.
the GameCube and the Wii weren't in HD, so they can bring these games forward and widescreen them and do whatever.
I mean, I would
make them
argue
look
these games
great.
still look good regardless.
Yeah.
I don't
But,
like,
like,
I really
if they
I really
wanted
don't
to-
think they're desperate. Yeah.
If they wanted to do this again with Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2 in like a console 2 generations down from now, I feel like if you wouldn't be able to get away with charging the same price as they're charging for now, even if this price is a budget, because people would feel like there needs to be at least something new in to bring it over with. And graphics at this point are really the only thing they can add to them, short of just making a full-scale remake, obviously, of Pikmin 1 and 2, which I don't
Yeah.
see the point in. I think you may as well pull a Metroid Prime and update the graphics for them. It'll make more of a buzz, and if they wanted to generate more of a buzz, otherwise it'll be the same sort of thing as when they add stuff to NSO, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. But that, Shadowlink, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Street Fighter 6.
Nice.
I go online with Ken, and I either do decent or I lose 400 rank points. I had a match with a Kimberly player where I backed them into a wall, and then I threw them 6 times in a row, and they got really angry after that. That was funny.
Hell yeah. Also, it has just been brought to my attention that the Splatterhouse 2010 soundtrack is on Bandcamp.
Nice. There you go.
God bless Bandcamp.
I have also been playing for the last 3 days Honkai Star Rail.
Oh boy.
I am genuinely surprised. This is probably the best RPG I've played in years.
Ooh.
The battle system is simple, but like it has just enough there to keep it engaging. The soundtrack is phenomenal. That soundtrack is probably the most invested I've been in, like the moment to moment. Like it matches up really well to what's going on, and that is like a feat, because there's a lot of RPGs out there that have good music, good battle themes, but they don't match the flow of combat. I'm looking at you, Persona 5, whose battle theme does not hit the chorus before most random encounters end. It's nice. I'm barely anywhere in the game, but I have been enjoying my time with it.
Nice. A friend of mine's also been playing Honkai Star Rail and Street Fighter 6, actually.
Oh no, it's me.
They've also been really enjoying it. They didn't play any of Genshin Impact. I actually don't know why they just randomly decided to play Star Rail. But they said it was like really, really good. I thought it was
they're different games.
Yeah.
Honkai Star Rail is a turn-based RPG, and Genshin Impact is the Breath of the Wild game.
Yeah, I know they're different, but they're obviously the same devs, and I feel like a lot of people who moved on to Honkai Star Rail probably played Genshin Impact first, and this is the next game from that studio, so they're invested. Even though it's like the 4th game in the Honkai series or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I have a storied history with Genshin Impact. I don't think I've ever talked about it on the show, but I have put a ludicrous amount of time into that game.
Oh, damn.
Do it. Talk about Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact is a very interesting game because if anybody knows me, I don't like Breath of the Wild. Genshin doesn't really do much different from Breath of the Wild, but the core difference between Genshin Impact and Breath of the Wild is that Genshin Impact has a story.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
And I much enjoy having a concrete linear succession of events to go upon rather than nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. I get
but yeah, it's interesting because like Genshin has character development and like arcs and actual things that happen, which is surreal to see in a game with that kind of structure. Because now I've played 2 games in that structure from what spawned it that don't have that, and I don't know, man. I was expecting more from Tears of the Kingdom when I after I played Genshin. It did not live up to Genshin Impact.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, I don't want to play Genshin Impact. So I'm worried I'll get too into it, and I don't have the time for anything like that. I also don't have the time. I'm pretty good at not playing the gacha elements of gacha games that I play, like not spending any money and managing to just get through it all.
No.
That's the other turnaround. I've seen people who play Genshin and are like perfectly fine throwing all their money at it for some character, and it just doesn't appeal to me. Especially, I feel like it's an issue I had with Dragalia Lost as well. That gacha games work better when it's an existing IP, because I have no real motivation to want to get any of the characters in Genshin Impact because I don't know any of them.
That's why Genshin Impact has a story.
Yeah, I guess.
You get invested in the characters and then you want them.
I suppose so, yeah. Well, that's another reason to not play it, because I've managed to avoid not spending money when it's a gacha for an IP I like. But that's fine.
I stopped playing Genshin like a year ago, but before that point, I had every character. I did not spend like more than $10 on gacha rolls in that game. But yeah, there's a timeline out there where I've fallen off the deep end and done more than just buy costumes.
Oh no. Yeah, I think that's a good time to stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, shall we get into the main topic?
You can take the random number generated Smash roster off the screen.
It's fine. We're through the introduction. So, I thought to start with, because there's so many games, we should try and narrow it down and just talk about a handful of games that were shown off that we're looking forward to. And obviously there are going to be some that we're all looking forward to. But let's just go through them all piece by piece. And just give our sort of impressions and thoughts and stuff of everything we've seen so far. And I'll start, and I think I'm going to start with the new Sonic game, actually. Sonic Superstars, because damn, that game looks really good, and I'm very surprised that Sega are releasing a 2D Sonic game made by Sonic Team and Dimps, not Dimps, Arzest, and it's like I'm actually interested in it because I really liked Sonic Mania, but that's like the only. I mean, I like classic 2D Sonic, and I used to play the Advanced series, but Sonic Rush was like the last time I really enjoyed a 2D Sonic game before Sonic Mania came out. And as much as I love Sonic Generations, I don't feel like Sonic, the classic sections of that game were like super stellar. I think it was more just the novelty of being able to run through previous locations. But Sonic Superstars looks like just a really fun, kinetic game, which actually, where the new gimmicks actually feel like they match the game and add something to it. And I don't know, it just doesn't look wonky as shit. And that's like just really impressive for a Sonic game nowadays, I guess. But no, I'm really looking forward to this one. Actually, I think it was like my surprise takeaway. It was announced during the Summer Games Fest, right? It's probably the only game from the Summer Games Fest that has remained in my brain. The only one I actually give a shit about. And I kind of wish it wasn't coming out the same week as Super Mario because that's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Sonic's at least on more than one platform, so it'll do Sonic numbers, which is to say it'll sell like 1 million copies and then stop.
I feel like most of Sonic... I mean, actually, that is an interesting point, because usually I prefer playing Sonic games on the Switch, but the 3D Sonic games, Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Forces, I got the last two on PS4, because the Switch version just ran like ass in comparison.
Yeah, Superstars looks... I haven't checked the frame rate. Be funny if it was 30, but it does look significantly worse on Switch, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look at the trailer for the Switch version and frame by frame it real quick.
Yeah, because like I hope, because it's 2D games like platformers, I prefer to play them on the Switch. I can play them portably, and Sonic Mania I played on the Switch, and that ran great. So I just sort of immediately thought, oh, I'll get Sonic Superstars for the Switch as well. But if it runs like bum, maybe it would be better off getting it on the PS4, because you want speed in that game. Sonic is the sort of series where I think you want it to be as high frame rate as possible. Like most games, I don't mind if it's 30 or 60 FPS unless it's like a fighting game, obviously. But Sonic is in that ballpark. I kind of hope
it's not 30, but it's
good.
not 60.
Okay, that's not as good. I guess I'll have to see from playing it. Hopefully, I'm going to go to Gamescom this year. They'll have it there, so I'll be able to give it a try on the Switch and see how it feels compared to the PS4. Yeah, River says it looks worse, but it doesn't think it looks bad. And yep,
it doesn't look bad. It just looks PS3 game. And that's like that's a disservice to PS3 games, because like Generations looks better than it.
You think Generations looks better than it?
Yes.
Interesting. I didn't really think it looked that outdated from what I had seen. But
I don't know. I still think the original Hedgehog engine is fucking magic.
I mean, it is, and they can't use it anymore, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it looks still pretty nice. One of the things that has made me do though is I kind of not bothered about playing Sonic Origins anymore, because I had this sort of mental block with Sonic Origins Plus, because I did want to play the games as Amy. Like, I was really disappointed that the original Sonic Origins didn't have it, but I cannot give two shits about the Game Gear games that they've added to Sonic Origins. I could already play them on like 1 million other systems. So like,
yo, it's time to break out the GameCube and Sonic Adventure DX
yeah.
Director's Cut.
Exactly. So like, I would just be buying Sonic Origins Plus just to play as Amy, and I haven't actually looked at what the price is, so I don't know if it's a cheap thing to do or an expensive thing to do. But because she's she's going to be in Sonic Superstars anyway, and it looks like she plays exactly as she does here in Sonic Origins, I'm kind of just thinking, should I just wait? should I just not bother with Sonic Origins and wait till Superstars, and there we go. Then I don't need to play Sonic Origins anymore.
Origins will probably be cheaper eventually.
Yeah, I mean the base. I guess yeah, but the thing is, because I have Sonic Origins already, not Sonic Origins Plus, I have to buy the DLC because they did that thing. Because that also really pissed me off because they made the original version of Sonic Origins cheaper now and released Sonic Origins with the DLC at the same price that they originally released Sonic Origins.
So, I've heard from some people who bought Origins Plus that it's just Origins with a download code in the box.
Yeah, if you buy the physical, it is, yeah. Which is also
very
ridiculous.
funny.
But I already spent money buying the first Sonic Origins. I actually spent more money than I should have buying the first Sonic Origins, but that's a story for a different time. And now I don't. And now there's DLC, and I'm just like, do I want to get it? But anyway, this is all this is to say, Sonic Superstars looks good, so I don't want to buy another Sonic game until that one. But I'm looking forward to it. I just hope that the Switch version plays well. And Rivers is right. It is pretty funny that they showed both Sonic Superstars and then the game made by the Mania team in like the same Nintendo Direct.
I hope that game does good. It looks really quality. Mm-hmm. I'm fearful that it won't succeed because it doesn't have the brand recognition of like Sonic and like other Scrimblows. Like it would be extremely sad if that game does not perform better than the new Bubsy game.
I don't know how well that new Bubsy game did, but I want to say it will do better than that. See, I don't think it will do as well as Sonic Mania because it doesn't have that connected IP to it. But I think them advertising it as the game made by the Sonic Mania devs will probably at least get Sonic fans and people who are more in the know about these things to pick it up. Like, just from that. It'll be the more casual gamers who picked up Sonic Mania because it had Sonic in it that may just pass over this because they don't know what it is.
Hello, I'm back. Are we talking about Sonic?
Yeah, we were just
talking about Sonic.
We talked about Sonic and we're talking about that Penny's Big Break, is it called? Big Breakaway? The Mania game by the Mania team. It looks really fun, actually. I think they said it's going to be a game made for speedrunning, and it kind of reminded me of the Tori games, which are also these like short 3D platformers that are just built around speed.
Yeah.
I think with the yo-yo, it looks like you'll be able to do a lot of really cool, like, sequence breaking of stages and really fun platforming. I guess I need to play it to really know how it feels. But if there's enough movement options in that game, I imagine it's just going to be just fun to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think Superstars looks pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. I do wonder how the level design is going to be with 4 players. Like, I'm assuming the multiplayer works like the new Super Mario Bros. Multiplayer does, where it follows the person in front, and if people get too far behind, they get pulled forward.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like there's any like player collision.
Yeah. I think it would be a nightmare in this Sonic.
So they might be able to afford, like, not having to stretch out the levels too much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I played not Sonic, New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. Like 2 days ago. I played the first 3 worlds with some friends, and one of my friends was constantly trolling to the point where another one cussed them out in French.
Oh,
It was,
man.
That's incredible.
very interesting. I hope they didn't say anything horrible.
It's interesting that the new Super Mario Brothers game, which I guess we can talk about next, seems to have removed collision entirely from its co-op.
I'm sad about that. I'm gonna be honest. I just played you again, and being able to pick up people and also like stomp on them, and murder them. It's very funny. It's very funny. It adds an element to the game that I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it is very chaotic. I do the same thing in 3D World when I played through that in multiplayer, because you can pick people up and throw them. It just adds an element of chaos to the games, and I'm curious as to why they've removed it now for the new Super Mario Brothers game.
Well, they also got rid of the suicide button, which was...
Stop.
Or at least I assume that means that's gone, too.
Yeah.
I started... I told everyone to press L and R at the same time at the beginning of a round. Very funny. Very funny.
Just the fucking level unceremoniously ends.
Remind me, does New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, does every player have like a different life system? Like, or do you all share lives?
Everyone has their own life counter, which is very funny because Nabbit generates his own lives.
Because that's something, obviously, this new Super Mario Brothers game, everyone shares the same life counter.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, but how was it in 3D World again? Was it also shared?
It was also shared in 3D World.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
At least, so I've seen some people complain like, "Hey, if they got rid of the timer, why are there still lives?" And I'm just like, dude, having a co-op situation where only one player is left and the entire like rest of the team is yelling at them to succeed is really fun.
I wonder if part of making it so that you can't kill each other is tied to like the same reason as they kept all the lives like together. I guess. I'm not sure what the reason is. It could also...
like it raises the stakes more.
Yeah. I also wonder if because obviously this game now has Peach and Daisy playable characters, and Yoshi as well. And I'm assuming that Yoshi plays like Yoshi does, so i.e. can eat things with its tongue and has the hover jump and stuff.
We've seen the flutter
jump, yeah. So I wonder if they're doing like 3D World does, where every character has their own special abilities. Like Peach can float, her usual. Toad doesn't jump as high but runs faster than everyone else. Maybe they gave Daisy the double jump, because I think that's what she had in Super Mario Run. So like, again, 3D World you can still bump everyone off, but that game's in 3D. So you can also avoid it. Maybe in 2D, because everyone's on the same plane, and then every character has their own unique abilities and stuff. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of reasons from a design perspective, but it's hard to do that without actually playing it. I do think it's pretty cool that you can play as Yoshi. Here's a little prediction. I reckon that Yoshi's gimmick in this game is that he gets the tongue and he gets the flutter, but he won't be able to use any of the power-ups. Like, so we won't get Elephant Yoshi. So he's going to be like the easy mode sort of thing, where he's just like stronger than everyone else because he's automatically got this tongue attack and this ability to hover and float and save himself. and in exchange for that, yeah, you just don't get any, because everyone can play as Yoshi as well, as we saw from the trailer. There's green, red, blue, and yellow Yoshi, which might be a thing exclusive to him. So, yeah, Yoshi can also be ridden.
Okay,
yeah,
so
like Nabbit, but he can get hurt.
we can see on the cover art that there is a Goomba with a blue toad head on it. I think that is actually just blue toad transformed. I think there are also going to be 4 toads. At least blue and yellow toad, for sure.
Yeah, so, like, that's also
This is
interesting.
copium, but I'm hoping it's true.
You just want blue toad bad.
Blue Toad is the only character I play as in Mario. If I can't play as Blue Toad, I'm not buying the game.
The Goomba definitely has a blue hat. I mean, that would imply the existence of a Goomba power-up, I think. Which I have to ask why. Why? What does the Goomba transformation do in this game? But that is really interesting. That there's a Goomba with a blue toad with a Goomba hat. Maybe Blue Toad has been turned into a Goomba, and part of the game involves turning him back, and then you unlock him. Because I do get the feeling that there's going to be unlockable characters in this game. Like, Toadette was added into New Super Mario Bros. U, so I don't see why she couldn't be in this game as well.
I can't see this game not having Rosalina in it.
Yeah, Rosalina as well. May as well have her and make her unlockable. So, with already having 6 playable characters, they could easily throw Toadette and Rosalina in at the end and make it like 8 in total. Hey, Inferno, some people just like playing as the Toads, you know? They're goofy little dudes.
I only play as Blue Toad.
Blue Toad, Yellow Toad, regular Toad, and...
I want to play as the Toad from the Mario movie.
Yeah. The
like,
cool
come
Chef
on.
Toad. Yeah, turning into a Goomba could be one of the Wonder Flower things, that's right. Because I'm assuming those have, like, special gimmicks in, like, every level, right? Every level will have something unique happen to it. Having one where you turn into a Goomba does fit that vibe. But no, Super Mario Bros. Wonder looks really, really, really good. I hope I was my Game of the Year contenders for this year.
I was gonna say, that's definitely, like, the game I am... it's fucked up, but it's, like, the game I'm most excited for out of everything I've seen. It just looks so good.
It does. I'm wondering what other power-ups they're going to have. And it's obviously they'll have the standard ones like Fire Mario and stuff. But, like, is the elephant power-up this game's equivalent to the flying squirrel power-up from Super Mario Bros. U? Like, the single new power-up, or the propeller suit from New Super Mario Bros. Wii? And we don't see much else. Or will there be a host of different animal-based power-ups in this one? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows until they do another direct and they, like, reveal every single fucking thing about the game.
Yeah, the Super Mario Bros. Wonder Direct, like a week before launch. That reveals secret unlockable
look
characters.
at Mario!
There are no surprises in this one. I do hope that the bosses aren't just the Koopalings. We obviously saw Bowser Jr. as a boss, even though it's Dark Bowser Jr. whatever. And the boss look fun, and the Koopalings always had unique boss battles, even if it was just them. But I just want to see a bit more variety in the boss types. Like the bosses that are my favorite in the new Super series are still the ones from DS, because each one like looked unique and felt somewhat unique. Even though most of them took place in like a small room. So there's just something about the visuals as well. Like, I totally understand why people are bored of the Koopalings. And I think they work nicely as sub-bosses, because every world usually has a sub-boss and then a main boss. Like, I think the 7 Koopalings and Bowser Jr. could all work for the sub-boss role. I would just want something more interesting for the bosses of each level. And then you can end on Dark Bowser, sure.
I'm curious if we'll see like some more unique biomes. Like, I mean, it already looks like it's not really following the like the Super Mario 3 landscapes that like every new Super Mario Brothers U game followed.
Yeah.
But I am curious to see like how weird they get with some of the worlds.
I hope they get...
Go back to Mario Land, do some of that shit. Like, come on. Make a
Mario
Lego
Land
world
definitely has
again.
the
Fuck it.
weirdest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, funnily enough, and people don't tend to believe me on this, but I have there's an article on Source Gaming with it, that, I'm pretty sure new Super Mario Brothers 2 has the has the widest number of unique biomes in any 2D Super Mario game. It
Yeah,
obviously
which
has
is
all
crazy because it's new Super Mario Brothers 2, yeah.
Exactly. It has all of the standard ones you'd expect, but then it just adds a lot more to them.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Super Mario Land definitely has like a crazy amount of like where almost every biome is something unique. I mean, there's an entire underwater level set inside of a whale, which you don't see very often in Mario games. Yeah. So hopefully they do. I do wonder whether or not they're moving away from the new Super Mario Brothers logo is just a marketing thing. or like, is there enough different, because obviously the graphical style is different, but like the graphics technically do change with every single new Super Mario Brothers game, even if the general vibe doesn't. But I think the main thing in those 4 games is they all sort of feel the same from a gameplay perspective. So I wonder if Super Mario Wonder will actually feel different to play than the new Super Mario Brothers, or if it's just going to be different visually.
I think, I am really curious about that. I'm sure they've already gotten like a million notes from everyone about how new Super Mario Brothers like feels very different from like any of the previous Mario installments. Not that they feel bad, but when you go back and you play like well, I mean that's sort of a big issue with Mario Maker is when you're playing like Super Mario Brother 1 looking stages, but they have the physics of new Super Mario Brothers and it feels completely off. It doesn't feel right. So, but I mean, like as we were saying during the stream, it looks like they really did like I mean, like already from the get-go without picking up a controller, it looks like the way they timed like the animations and like what frames play when.
Yeah.
I mean, it still looks like that they're trying to make it play very, very much so akin to classic Mario. But yeah, I am curious what the full physics of that are gonna feel like. Because I mean, people speedrun these things. Like New Super Mario Brothers U was definitely built around speedrunning, especially the Luigi U. That was like the whole point. It was the whole gimmick of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Ask the Developer that they're definitely going to do for Super Mario Brothers Wonder, because they'll definitely answer why Daisy was added as a playable character this time around. And like, obviously there's a popularity aspect to it, but part of me wonders whether or not they're going to draw from the Super Mario Land games at all for this, because obviously you have going back to Sonic again, and then bringing Fang the sniper back. There's a lot of elements from that game that seem to be taken from the Game Gear games. Like, the 2 levels that we've seen from Sonic Superstars are both directly inspired by zones from the Game Gear games. And Fang was obviously a Game Gear character. Now that Daisy's hanging around in this game, and obviously her series, she's most closely connected to the Super Mario Land series, I wonder if they'll pull from that for this. Like, could we get a return of Tatanga, even just as a one-world boss type thing? Because Bowser's obviously still the main villain, unless they pull like a twist thing where you beat Bowser and then suddenly it's like Tatanga is actually like the one who's, because they're controlling him, because there's clearly something going wrong with Bowser and Bowser Jr. in a Bowser's Fury kind of way, right?
Yeah.
So like, I wonder how they'll do that, but that would be pretty neat, because
I mean, it's like people always talk about like, oh, whether or not the Mario mandate was ever real or fucking whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was like, with the new Super Mario Brothers games, they were like, we gotta stick to the classics. Like, this is what people know. Like, we can't just start throwing Mario Land 2 stuff in there. We can't be a little too weird, because then people will be like, this is not the Mario I remember, or whatever.
Yeah.
But now that like so much time has passed, it's like, why not just include, like, we're already past the whole like nostalgia bit. Like, they've already done that a bunch of times. Now they can just include whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, like I think
I kind of get that from Superstars as well. Yeah.
I feel like there's like, I like, obviously, like, they're doing new things with this. Obviously, Super Mario Odyssey was really cool for having new things. I think they just need to be consistent within Mario, which is a bit of an issue in Super Mario Land 1 and 2. And 2 especially, I think.
Oh yeah, well, two goes off the deep end.
Yeah.
It's like, if you two's levels feel like they would fit more in something like Arrow the Acrobat, but like, we like that. We like that about Mario Land 2, is how fucking weird the stages are.
But even the enemies in Super Mario Land 2 are like really bizarre. And Super Mario Land 1, I mean, there's like Chinese vampire zombies as enemies, and Super Mario Land 2 is like Goombas with Jason hockey masks on.
Yeah. And you go into space.
Yeah.
Hell
That's
yeah.
not too unusual for Mario nowadays.
Yeah.
But like, it'd be neat to see some of the more traditional, but still like Super Mario Land enemies, but ones that fit more within the Mario style. So taken more from Super Mario Land 1, I suppose.
Yeah.
And reincorporate them into Super Mario Brothers Wonder. That'd be nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone would be on board with, like, if they made a new Mario platformer that's like really weird.
Yeah.
It's like breaks like all of the conventions that you expect, but yeah, just like little bits and pieces here and there would go a long way. You can still have your super ultra traditional like Mario game. I'm always gonna be on board with that. But yeah. Just like don't just the like desert theme, ice theme.
Yeah.
Everything's a Goomba. It's like, oh, we can move past that. Like, bring back the football guys, you know?
Yeah, they brought them back for 3D World, so maybe they'll be here for this one. Hopefully, they can do the desert theme if the desert is like sweets or whatever. Isn't that that's what Sonic did, basically?
Yeah.
Do something funky like that with it if you really need a desert biome or an ice biome or something. Have every stage be named after Italian foods. Pull a Kirby and just have all the
It's the spaghetti world.
Yeah. Spaghetti space. There we go. Final world.
I do like the people saying that Super Mario Wonder in of itself kind of sounds like a ROM hack name. Like, it's totally true. Like, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
In like the best way possible.
So, moving from one Mario game to another, I guess. Super Mario RPG is the other big Nintendo game of this year. That is
when you put that clip separated of like us reacting to it on the channel, I was like, oh no, so many people are gonna be like, why the fuck did they say Mario Party? But what's weird enough is that we've actually gotten like a bunch of people in like our Discord and in the YouTube chat that even said like, yeah, I thought that's what they were going. Yeah. I wasn't expecting Mario RPG.
Yeah, I saw people saying like they thought that like the game looks like it's made by Endcube.
It does. That's exactly what we were saying.
Vibe. Yeah,
dude. Dude, our reaction is so funny because so many people are talking at once at the beginning, and thanks to you guys both saying Mario Party, you guys covered up me going no.
I think our reaction. I think our reaction to that is very different from everyone else's because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, so you can correct me now. But what is your fondness for Super Mario RPG? Have you played it? Did you play it growing up, or did you play it when it came
played
to the Wii?
most of it. Like
I feel
played
like-
it while I was growing up. I played most of it. I was unimpressed, and I think it's an overrated game. Anyway.
Damn, cold. I'm just like, I guess I'm just not like totally impressed by it.
The original, you mean?
No, not even the original, just the remake. I think that's why my reaction to it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Because like it really does just look like, we remade our like Mario RPG with modern assets, and not even like, I mean, like obviously like scrunched small Mario is very new.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it does look like they just took like the Mario Party like Superstars assets and made a Mario RPG out of it, a remake out of it. And not that that's like,
not that that's bad, or
not that's a problem. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain. Well, I am complaining about it. Well, I'm bitching about it. That's different. But like, I don't know. I don't think it's that I expected more. I guess I'm just like, I just really am at that point with video game remakes where I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. I
like,
I don't mind that they did the scrunchy like stuff to it.
I don't mind. I just wish there was like better texture to it. I think that's what we like. Some people were saying in the comments where it's like, yeah, I mean, like the proportions are all right. It's that like everything has that super ultra polished, smooth, Mario Party look. Whereas the original game did have these sort of like very early weird looking CG kind of clayish models, yeah. And I kind of wish they would just keep like, they don't have to make the game look like the Link's Awakening remake where it just straight up looks like a full diorama, but like more texture, just something to really, because like Mario RPG is a very like dark looking game. and I don't really get any of that from the remake screenshots. Not that I think it looks bad. It just like, again, it just looks different, and it's like in my brain I'm just gonna go, oh no, just put the SNES version on NSO. I really don't need like a beautiful remake. But that's just me with like most games anyway.
So I think for me, whenever I thought of a Mario RPG, either a new one or a remake of it, my first thought was like it would kind of be like, not like, how Final Fantasy VII Remake is, like it's so drastically different. But I thought model-wise they wouldn't stick to that same sort of as loyal to it, I suppose. It's going to be a weird comparison, but like when I was playing Mario Golf Super Rush on the Switch, and then it has that story mode to it where you run around and stuff, and it's kind of RPG-esque. I always kind of thought that's what a Super Mario RPG on the Switch would look like. Like they would go for that more free running around. It's redesigning the world to fit that better. And then I expected all the characters to look like they do in spin-off. So I mean, this is kind of why with Mario Party and even like the Mario Golf and tennis games, like they all stick very closely to the Mario art style with their 3D models. So I just sort of expect it to look like that, and it does kind of look like they've done that, but then crunched everything down so that it fits the same height as all the stuff in Super Mario RPG. And while that works for the original characters and it works for Bowser as well, I still can't get over how Mario and Peach look in it. They just look off.
I really don't know if I can like talk about Mario RPG, like the Mario RPG remake, without like bitching about it, but like I also don't really have anything against it. It's just like that is just sort of the nature of doing a remake like that, where it's both like super like like, oh yeah, it's basically the game you know and love, but also like it just looks like that now,
Yeah,
and it costs like $60.
yeah.
It's like, okay, well, okay.
Yeah, well, going back to our reaction to it, I feel like looking back on it, and we got one comment about it, that saying our reaction to it was pretty weak, but I think that's because none of us are like, massively into Super Mario RPG. Like,
Yeah, we're just not Mario RPG guys.
because I've seen some people react to it like incredibly, like, those are sort of over the top YouTube reactions, but like seemingly genuine to it, and good on them if that's, Super Mario RPG brings them that much joy. But I'm kind of like Shadow Link in that I played the original, I played it on the Wii Virtual Console, and I also didn't finish it.
I'll say this much. Nintendo shadow dropping a gorgeous Metroid Prime remaster for $40. I know it was what we were saying earlier, where I was like, I mean, like they can't expect every like remaster port. It's like, it's fine if they don't like update graphically.
Yeah.
But if we are talking about like new remasters, remakes of older games, like them being like, yeah, this Mario RPG remake that comes out for like $60 in a few months. I don't know, that's just like not on the same level as like, here's Metroid Prime 1, it looks fucking beautiful now, you can buy it.
Yeah.
And we included every control scheme ever. Like, that immediately, I think, sells me more on that, just simply because, like, oh, okay, they've already explained how it, like, plays differently from the original, like, what they did to update it. Yeah. I can see that it's a beautiful video game now.
Yeah, I think that's another issue with Super Mario RPG, from when I was watching the footage. It feels like, almost like it's too loyal to how the Super Nintendo, like, I'm slightly worried that it's going to play and feel
exactly
like
my
a
deal.
Super Nintendo era RPG.
Yeah, it looks like it's being ultra faithful while also like, yeah, I don't know. There's just like a weird. I guess there is a line to it where something can be super faithful, but almost like too faithful. It's too literal. I think is a good way of putting it.
Like, I want to see with a remake of something like this, especially in an old JRPG like this, I want to see some more modern stuff that kind of freshens it up, makes some of the tedium a bit better, balances it a bit better.
I mean, if you're gonna remake Mario RPG, like, draw it. Like, I don't like. Yeah, I don't know. I think they could have. It sucks. It sucks. That's all we can talk about. Because, like, what the fuck has changed gameplay?
Yeah. Like, I did watch Papagenos' analysis of it, because, I mean, if there's anyone I'm going to watch about Super Mario RPG, it may as well be his videos. And, like, there are some new things here. They have taken some of the quality of life stuff used in, like, the Mario and Luigi games, and reincorporated them here, which is nice, because this is obviously the game that used the button prompt system that Paper Mario and Luigi both then adopted.
Someone compared the Mario RPG remake to Pokemon BDSP, but BDSP at least is like trying to look like a higher res DS game. Super Mario RPG just looks like a new video game.
I mean, I think Super Mario RPG looks better than BDSP is.
Well, yeah.
BDSP
on like a technical level, yeah, absolutely.
But BDSP, I guess, also has the same problem that I'm worried Super Mario RPG is going to have. BDSP was way too faithful to Diamond and Pearl when it really needed to fix some of the problems of Diamond and Pearl. And I'm worried that Super Mario RPG is going to feel like a game from the 1990s.
Oh no!
Which like at that point,
nothing wrong with that to me.
I mean, yeah, but at that point, it is like, why not just put it on NSO? Why
I mean, ultimately, they really should like just have both. I think we always talk about like, oh, will that bite into sales or whatever? No.
They'll probably add Super Mario RPG eventually, but I wouldn't expect anytime soon. But yeah, Super Mario RPG. I am looking forward to it. I will definitely buy it, and I will probably actually beat it this time because because I just kind of feel like it looks like they're adding some things, and hopefully they'll have added enough to the game to make it feel new.
Wish they would just add the original game to NSO to like hype us up for the new one. I'll play the original before playing the remake. Like,
then people won't buy the remake.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I know that's like the fear, the one fear, but I don't know if that actually ever really like truly matters. People bought that Dead Space remake despite the fact that like the original Dead Space is a $1 video game.
Yeah, but the new Dead Space remake's more like Resident Evil 4 remake, right? Like it's not. Really
No, it's pretty faithful.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fair. All right, I started this, and the intention was to do one by one, but we segueing into each different game.
We keep talking about Nintendo.
Yeah, so.
I mean, what the fuck is there to talk about from the Xbox conference? They announced a bunch of games we're never going to see ever.
Yo, paid
in a million years. And then they announced a Series S at the end of the fucking thing.
That's still a very funny announcement.
Yeah.
For their last thing of show. But, I mean, I liked Fable that they started the show with. Obviously, we didn't really see much in terms of actual gameplay. But I would assume it plays like the other Fable games, which means it's fine by me. It's been more than a decade and a half almost since Fable 3, so... like, I'm good for a new Fable game, and it looks like they've captured the tone and just the style of the game that the original had. Hopefully it's a bit more like Fable 2 than Fable 3, but with some of the quality of life features from Fable 3. Like, that's what I'm kind of hoping for with this one, because I really like Fable 2. And Fable 3 has some nice things to it, but it's just not as good of a game, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I want to see with Fable 4. I think with Fable 4, it's like, because it's a new development, they're not a new development studio, but it's their first time doing Fable, and I feel like it's their first time doing any kind of game like this. I'm kind of like cautiously optimistic about it. They're competent devs, obviously they're the guys who do Forza, but you can't. I can't really trust them to. That's probably not the right word. I don't know. It's not the original devs making it, so I'm somewhat apprehensive to see what it's like.
Peter Molyneux doesn't make video games.
Yeah, I know. It's probably a good thing that it's not the original.
Yeah, honestly, it probably is a good thing. He seemed kind of like he's one of those guys where you're like, I don't know if he really was the mastermind or like the crux to this franchise.
He does.
Someone in chat said Microsoft announced a stealth price increase for the Series S. I don't know if that's stealth increase. I guess it could, because the regular model Series S has just been like on clearance for the past month or so. I got one for $150 brand new.
Nice.
But then they also recently upped the price of the Series X in all countries that aren't the US.
Damn.
To match the PS5's price hike. And they upped the price of Game Pass. That's wow. They're really. I will say, I mean, like, there's been so much going on about like Microsoft with like the Activision buyout and such. Since we haven't done a good Morning Source Gaming in forever, we haven't really talked about all the wonderful developments of it. But I mean, there really isn't much to say, because it's basically just like Microsoft and Sony taking turns going into a public forum and being like, "We're just so shit. We're just so bad." And it's like it's especially weird that it's happening now, because Microsoft just did, a big E3 hype cycle thing. They're trying to tell us how cool their games are, how epic their platform are, and yet they're going to the literal US government and being like, you guys have to let us Call of Duty. Like, we have to let us buy Call of Duty. We cannot make a video game. We just cannot. And it's like, alright. Like, it's so weird. It's so, like, pathetic.
Yeah.
For, like, a billion dollar corporation to do.
Yeah, it is funny watching Microsoft sort of have to shit all over themselves to try and justify this. Like,
yeah,
guys, please, we're losing the console race. Here are our charts to show how badly we're performing compared to everyone else.
I feel like the main reason I mean, like, a lot of people are like, why is the FTC pulling in Microsoft if they are, you know, like if they are blocking them from, like, no, what was the best way to rephrase this? But it's like, why is the FTC blocking them when they are in, like, a losing position compared to Sony and PlayStation? And honestly, I think the answer is, why is, like, the second biggest corporation on the planet not able to do what Sony and Nintendo do pretty easily?
Yeah.
Like I mean, like, we say it on this channel a lot, like, Nintendo can squeeze out monthly releases, and they don't even have to be major AAA games, but just like, you know, remakes, ports. Like, they have filler games, but Xbox has none.
Yeah.
They release one game and then they wait 6 months and then they release another, maybe. I don't know, it's very maddening. It's like, I think for, like, that alone, I just, like, I don't really have any faith in really anything Microsoft is showing if they're willing to. I mean, we kind of saw it happen with Redfall, where they were really, like, hyping it up, and then the day after it comes out, Phil Spencer's like, yeah, actually, we knew it was shit the whole time. We just couldn't do anything about it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, what then? Like, how am I supposed to have faith in anything? Anything they talk about or advertise.
Yeah, Microsoft. So, like, at the start when Microsoft announced their acquisition of Activision, I was, like, all for it just because of how shit Activision is, and I kind of hoped that Microsoft would be able to sort of, like clearly they were taking advantage of the situation to try and nab Activision at a cheaper price than it would have been prior to that, and take away some of the bad publicity and hype themselves up as being able to change it. But since that announcement with Activision, I've, like, come to learn a bit more about how Microsoft functions as a company, like, actually speaking to people who work at Microsoft Game Studios. And,
yeah.
Like, the big takeaway I've gotten from all of this is that Microsoft really isn't the best at handling their devs.
No, they're doing essentially what Embracer did,
And look how
or even what we're just seeing with, like, streaming in the entertainment industry, where they thought they could build up a repertoire by buying, like, 50 billion studios and then giving them as much money and as much carte blanche to do whatever they want, not knowing that, of course, this means that every game is now uber expensive and takes, like, 5+ years to develop. And then clearly they get cold feet and they just rush it out the door. And they go, well, we'll get our Game Pass bucks, we'll get our first day physical sales, and then we'll add stuff to it later. Because every time a game under their wing comes out, it is something like a Gears 5 or a Halo Infinite or a Sea of Thieves or a Redfall, where it's like they just release the most, like, basic bare bones. I mean, nowadays they're basically just doing early access releases, because I don't think you could say that, like, Halo Infinite or especially Redfall launched in a decent, like, 1.0 state. They just added the Infection game mode to Halo Infinite, which is, like, a stock standard game mode that was in Halo 2, 3, 4, Reach.
Halo just in general baffles me ever since 343 took over and, like, somehow yeeted everything that Halo 3 had set up and just didn't include, and I just don't even understand why they didn't keep any of it. That's a very, I think that's an issue that's been going around longer than the current issue that Microsoft has. In that, yeah, you're right. What Microsoft, I think, is doing is buying up places, giving them money, and not actually getting involved in any kind of producer way. And
No,
just
they're
being
not.
like, here, guys, this is the project we want you to do, so just get it done for us. And then they hire outside help when things that needed a bit more of a crunch. And if a game's not going to hit deadline, they give it enough delays to try and help out. Obviously, there's only so much they're willing to do. At some point, the game has to be released. But like this means you can get stuff like that Rare game that supposedly they announced like 2-3 years ago that's since restarted development and just looks like it's stuck in development hell with nothing to show for it after so long. And that Perfect Dark game. Again, they also have an issue of just announcing games like as soon as they're greenlit, effectively.
Yeah, they really want their repertoire to look impressive, and then none of these games release, or they take forever to, and then they're not.
Yeah,
they're not cooked.
Yeah, I think that's the difference that between Microsoft and Nintendo, and possibly Sony. I don't know enough about Sony's to make a judgment call on this, but at the very least, Nintendo's, they come in when it's not something like Zelda, which obviously they just sort of let them go ham and take the entire Switch generation to release Tears of the Kingdom. When it's like an outside sort of studio, like when they're working with intelligent systems and stuff, they almost have like a set, alright, you have 2 to 3 years effectively to make this game, depending on the property and the scope and stuff like that.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, the big thing with Sony and Nintendo is that they primarily make single-player games.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's also part of, like, because those games are easier to keep within deadlines and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like we're giving you guys creative freedom to experiment, but we also, like, expect things to hit certain deadlines and stuff, and if you have to drop stuff from the game in order to do that, then, you know, go for it. Because they also, like, at least on Nintendo's front, they're supposedly anti-crunch, like they want people to go home at like 5 or 6 because they believe in that good mental health will produce better results for their games, which is good, but it also does lead to situation. Which I mean, obviously it's great. In fact, I don't want to underplay that.
Yeah.
But it is also like why some games. I feel like it's the reason why some games like the Mario sports games, for example, end up also releasing in the state they do, because they can just update it later, so they can hit the deadline that's required of them. They can take their time whilst also trying to take their time with the game.
Yeah.
I know that's just me speculating at that point. But anyway, the overall point of my ramblings right now is that Nintendo's got better project managers, basically. Microsoft do not manage anything, and then they're like, alright, how's the game coming along? And it's barely progressed because the devs know they've got like practically infinite money from Microsoft just throwing shit at them, so they don't feel any pressure from having to any pressure if they have to restart everything from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, it also just seems like like in terms of Sony, it just seems like their studios just like they really take pre-production seriously, and they just map out what they want. Because like Insomniac has said that the turnaround on their games like is as fast as like it's perceived. Mm-hmm. Like obviously something like Spider-Man probably started development like right after Spider-Man 1 or like Miles Morales, but they already knew what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So that's why they can put up a date and they're sure of it. Same thing with something like God of War. And then when it comes to third-party games, it seems like it's really more so that this is kind of funny. It seems like it's more so that a lot of third-party developers are just like they would just rather make their game for PlayStation only than like make it multi-platform, and then Sony just goes, yeah, well, I guess we'll foot the bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And games are so gosh darn expensive that like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you say yes? It's kind of like when Epic was like footing the bill for like every indie game ever for 3 years, and it's like, yeah, I mean, Like, why not? Like, why wouldn't you take that offer?
Yeah. That's what you want out of a publisher.
Yeah,
You're a
like free
developer.
budget, like
Yeah, hell yeah.
absolutely.
Budget is always the biggest problem behind skill, I suppose.
Apparently, one of the reasons they like one of the reasons they want to buy Microsoft wants to buy Activision is because there was a point where Activision didn't want to make Xbox Series versions of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, that's so embarrassing. That's so embarrassing for them.
It is. Well, that's the other problem actually with Microsoft that I've been told behind the scenes. The way Microsoft does the few mandates Microsoft does have for its developers, one of them is that games...
You have to make 90 versions of the same game.
Like, games should be made with the PC in mind, like, so that it looks as great as possible. However, every game must also run on the Series S without missing any features.
Yeah, and the Series S is like... it's a very bizarre console because it's like it's almost identical, not identical, but like GPU power wise, it's like it's the same as a PS4 Pro. Like it's not even really on par with their last gen Pro console, the One X, because it can't do any of the One X enhancements or anything. That's what That's what I was saying during the conference. It's just like this weird box that's like more incapable than it is capable, but its selling point is like, look, it can still play the new games. It's very strange. I really don't get it, and it seems like it's really just like they just shot themselves in the foot with it because everyone seems to hate developing for it.
Yeah, no, they do, because that they have to pull in outside sources. Apparently, code is awful to like look through because it's a matter of compressing and compiling everything down to try and get games, and they have to do it. Like, games can be complete other than the Series S version of the games, and they can't release it until the Series S version is done and doesn't have any... They can't release, like... They basically have to remove content from the main game in order to get it running on the Series S, because they have... All those versions have to be the same.
Yeah.
And that's what drives a lot of people up the wall, both Microsoft's own devs and third parties. So I'm not surprised that Activision were like, we don't want to make Call of Duty for the Series S.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at that at all, to be honest.
It's all of like the effort that has to go into something like a Switch port would have done for a last generation game, except it's for a console that is selling a fraction. A fraction of what the Switch is doing.
Yeah, they're certainly not
you can sell like a 15 FPS port of the Outer Worlds on Switch because the Switch is selling like hotcakes, but like who's buying a Series S is the number one question.
Well, I wanted to get a Series S because it was cheap. It was the cheaper version, and I wanted something that... This was before I upgraded my PC, but I wanted something that I could play Game Pass on with ease. But
yeah, well now I thought I wanted the same thing too, and now I disagree.
Yeah,
I disagree with that notion.
Everyone has told me that actually don't get a Series S. It's really not. The quality drop in like almost every game is just not worth it.
I think if you care enough about video games that you can like recognize in your brain that you're like, yeah, I should buy the $300 Xbox as a secondary gaming platform. Like you probably can just like use the extra, like get an extra 200 and buy a Series X and just have everything. Yeah.
Well, that's Microsoft's basically.
Yeah.
That's all the
I mean, like,
from Microsoft's conference.
The best thing I can say about the Microsoft conference was that some of the teasers looked cool, but for games that I don't know when they're coming out, and I have no idea what games they even are.
Yeah.
So,
it's like
a big shrug.
yeah. I guess Starfield I'm also sort of looking forward to seeing, although I'm honestly not sure if I'll play it or not. Because it's been so long since I played like a game from the Elder Scrolls and Fallout people that I'm somewhat interested in Starfield. And it's obviously their big game of this year, and it will run on my PC. So
I'm very curious how it's gonna.
Maybe I won't.
I mean, I guess because I have a Series S and I have a Steam Deck, like I might as well be looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that game is like, I mean, for the Series S, that is the one game this year for like the one big exclusive. Yeah, I guess I'll check it out.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think we put in a request for a
Bethesda.
review key, but who knows?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, look who's finally showing up.
Yeah.
With 30 minutes left to go.
My phone died, so I didn't get to wake up on time.
Just wake up when the sun rises, like everyone else.
I was already awake when the sun rose. That's the problem.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
Well, now that you're here, we've been talking about the games that were shown off over the last, month that we're looking forward to, and we've already talked about Sonic and Mario and the one by the Sonic Mania people, and we just finished getting through Microsoft. So, what game are you looking forward to, Phantom?
Of course, looking towards the Sonic Superstars. My Super Mario Wonder is the first time I've ever been actively interested in a Mario game, because I don't play them too much, really. So. I'm very excited for that. Not just Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but also Super Mario RPG and the Princess Peach game, because Princess Peach is cool. So, of course. What else? Oh, next to Sonic Superstars, also the Sonic Frontiers updates that have been coming out. I gotta hop on that because I've been seeing some really cool stuff, and that there's been some files within the update for Sonic Frontiers, the second update, that have shown stuff for the third update, and it honestly is very surprising that these updates are free in the first place.
Yeah, I should update my
They've been putting a lot of effort.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the final update for Sonic Frontiers because I know that's when they're adding the new playable characters.
Yeah, and new story.
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy, wow, this is all free.
I'm not sure what they've added in this new update. I should check it out. Probably.
They added new action challenges, new Coco. I believe also new Coco challenges, the Spin Dash, which you have not been able to do like your own controlled Spin Dash in a 3D Sonic game since like I think Adventure.
Adventure had the Spin Dash.
Yeah. They also added you can change more of your speed settings. So like you can make it so that you don't decelerate when you jump or like land from a jump. Which is like very crazy to just give people the choice to do, but that choice is great because now you can go through like the cyberspace levels even faster. So it's just a lot of the amount of freedom that they're adding in Sonic Frontiers is kind of wild. What else was there? The Yakuza stuff looks cool.
The Spin Dash was in Sonic 06.
Was it really? I didn't play that one.
Yes.
So that's why I completely skipped over that one. My fault. What else? The Yakuza stuff looks cool. Makes me still want to play the Yakuza games. Like the man who lost his name.
Dude, Like a Dragon Gaiden looks sick.
Yeah.
I am so hyped. I can't wait to smoke a cigarette and then throw it into a crowd and it explodes.
Yeah.
I'm a little apprehensive at the moment about that game because even though I really liked Yakuza 6 and I have faith in the game being good, they've already shown plot elements coming from Yakuza 0, and I don't want that.
From story,
maybe they'll go about it in the best way possible.
How So is Gaiden
Shit.
like a Dragon Gaiden set after 6? Is it like
Yes,
in between
it's
6
a
and
prequel. It is a prequel to 7 and a prequel to 8.
7? Yeah,
I don't know how that's going to work.
They'll figure out some way. I'm sure.
Breaking news. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Starfield will not have a physical disc copy. Tweet was deleted.
So maybe it will have a physical disc.
Maybe it will have a disc, or maybe they just decided in the the 7th hour that it will have a disc.
That'd be hilarious.
But yeah, the Yakuza games. I take it the Matt. You're also looking forward to Yakuza 8
Infinite Wealth.
as well.
Yeah, 8 looks cool from what I've seen so far. Oh god. Oh no. Oh.
What?
Okay.
What?
I watched
You okay?
I watched the RGG summit and it was one of the worst presentations that I've seen in decades. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so the RGG summit was presented. It was entirely Japanese speakers, but they had translators. However,
Time.
the translators were the same volume as the Japanese speakers.
Okay.
It was unbearable. Oh my god.
That's sick.
Oh no.
It's a Nintendo Switch presentation experience for you.
No, that was
That was, a
that
little
was
better,
like
but
you could hear the English.
mhm.
I know Suda went off on a 5-minute tangent, but like
That is still funny.
at least you could hear what was going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my god.
What else? There's some indie games that have gotten shown off that, honestly, just because there's so many indie games, it's actually genuinely really hard to actually remember all of them. But I know what I'm looking forward to from indies. Ubisoft surprisingly had a thing that I liked,
Is that the Prince of
which
Persia
was well, okay. They had two things that I liked, which was that Prince of Persia game, and then also Jet Set Radio and Roller Champions.
game? Oh yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, that I had a heart attack when that happened.
I mean,
So-
Roller Champions isn't very good though, right?
Well, so that's the thing. Roller Champions could be the worst game ever. I'd still pick it up for Jet Set Radio because I love Jet Set Radio. So that alone was just wow. That was okay. That was an okay presentation, better than the Summer Games Fest one. So the Xbox's presentation. We all watched that. That was fun. Like you guys were saying, there's games that had teasers that looked cool, and then we actually had no idea what the game was about. Except for Star Wars case, where at Ubisoft they had like a little 10-minute demo of the game that kind of looked very fake. So I still don't even trust the way it looks. It doesn't even feel like a game from the footage that they showed. But there was of course the Persona stuff, which I'm interested in. Metaphora looks cool. It looks cool. Like the aesthetic of it looks very cool, and then also at the same time, there's certain design aspects of it that I'm just confused about. But that's just on our artistic side, because I don't like certain things. What else? What other presentations were there?
I mean, we were just talking about the game specifically, but I guess.
Oh yeah, the games.
In terms of like, what was the best presentation? What were the best showcases?
Nintendo
I mean,
Direct.
Nintendo. I guess we can all assume we're all for Nintendo Direct being the best
Nintendo
one.
Direct. The Nintendo Direct is the best one because there were not only things where even if I wasn't initially interested, what they showed off made me interested. Like, I don't care about Mario games, but when you show off things that look cool in a Mario game, then now I'm going to care about Mario games. And even on the third party stuff, like, I'm not too crazy about Batman, but seeing that back on Batman Arkham Trilogy, just like, oh, that's actually pretty neat. Seeing what was it, Silent Hope? At first, I was like, oh, that art looks really cool. and then I see more of the game like okay, but I still have a curiosity about what I'm seeing. Whereas for all the other presentations, it's either I care or I don't care. Unfortunately, and that can also be because if they're just showing teaser trailers and not showing gameplay, then now I don't know what to trust because my view of the game could be completely off from what the actual game ends up being. What else was there that I was interested in? I don't, man. There was so many games. There's just been so many games and stuff like that.
There are too many games.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Nintendo.
Actually,
all right, go on.
There was one. The Marvelous Showcase had a Daemon X Machina sequel announced. And Daemon X Machina is one of my favorite games of all time.
When was the Marvelous Showcase?
The Marvelous Showcase was I think the. Oh man, was that the week of Summer Games Fest? I think. I think it might have been the week before. I think it was either the week of Summer Game Fest, but it was either a few days after. But it was either a few days after or a few days before. It was one of those two. Because it was in between. It was kind of in between everything. I think I remember. Or I could be completely misremembering, but it could have been a few days before.
It looks like it was in May, so it looks like it was almost like a month ago. I guess
May what?
May 27th, something around then.
And what was some? Okay, that was like a week before.
Yeah, I think Marvelous thing might have been the first one. Was Daemon X Machina 2 not already announced? I thought we've known about that for ages.
In a second anniversary stream, they said we are beginning work or planning on a Daemon X Machina sequel. And that's when we knew, okay, so they are making another one. But then we had never heard anything after that.
Okay.
And then in the Marvelous stream, their one more thing was a teaser trailer of Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion. And as soon as I saw that first studio logo, I knew I was gonna be happy, and I'm eagerly awaiting this game. So, that Daemon X Machina is still quite one of the craziest things that recently happened because it is of a thing that I loved and dying for more of.
So would you say the Marvelous stream was your second favorite?
Marvelous stream probably was my second favorite. Because even outside of Daemon X Machina, there was other cool things. Like they announced, what was it, a Rune Factory spin-off that is more action game based, like 3D action game based. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. They announced a Story of Seasons where they announced two Story of Seasons where one is here's a new Story of Seasons, like a new visual style and stuff like that. But then also we're working on one that is like a kind of like a massive multiplayer game, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. They showed concept art, but it was like, I would like to see where that goes. That idea, even from not into farming, does sound cool. So there were things there that was like, oh wow, that's interesting. But then Daemon X Machina topped it off in the best way possible.
Fair. So I didn't watch the Marvelous one. So for me, I think my second favorite was the Xbox one, just because I liked some of the stuff that they showed off. It wasn't aggressively bad.
That's probably
sounds like some of them were. And yeah, it was just some good times in the Microsoft one. I don't remember almost everything. I don't remember everything that they showed off. Granted, it was a few weeks ago now, but it was fun. I think Microsoft was probably my second favorite. What do you guys call in Shadowlink? What think?
I think my second favorite would be either Microsoft or Sony. I feel like I got the same out of both of them. Maybe Microsoft's had more stuff that was my thing, but as I said earlier, so much of it is well, I don't even know what this is, or do I even have faith in this as a project? So I guess Sony's was kind of safer in that regard, of just stuff that just generally looks good. And then yeah, Summer Game Fest is last, whatever that was.
I'm kind
he
of
just
glad I skipped that one.
he just cannot make a game show. He's completely incapable of it.
Did
Oh,
anyone? What Shadowlink? What about you? Is it the same sort of vibe as Colin? Oh, he's muted.
We'll never know.
Yeah,
look at that,
he's
bro.
muted. Did anyone watch the Devolver Digital?
No.
Yes.
No,
Oh, you
I
did.
missed
Yes.
it. I missed it.
They made a fake Scrimblow. It was really funny.
It was very
Well,
funny. Yeah, I thought it was better than what they'd done the last few years. Like, yeah, they just made a fake Scrimblow Pimblow and pretended he was in various classic games and showed off stuff, and then announced obviously a bunch of games. Like, and I
forgot
don't
to
really
finish that
remember
one.
much about the games they did show off, other than the one by the ex Pokemon guy. God, why is that the Plucky Squire? That's the one.
Oh wait, oh yeah, Plucky Squire looks so cool.
Yeah, the Plucky
I
Squire
forgot
looks
about
really
that guy
good,
now.
but I forgot
That
every
looks
other
really
game that
cool.
they showed off. But the presentation itself was actually really funny. And unlike the last time they did like a special merch drop for the occasion, where they announced that incredibly rare game that they were only going to make limited things of, and it's like, this kind of goes against the parody aspect of it. I think releasing merch of the fake Scrimblow is kind of funny. I think that works and makes more sense than dropping this super exclusive game that barely like anyone is going to be able to play as like a limited run game sort of parody. Doesn't quite work because you're just doing what limited run games is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Xbox, what was it? Games? Like not that it's not even the after show, but it was like a few days later. They also had another presentation where they were showing off games, and that was also pretty interesting as well. There was a few games that they showed off. They're like Go Mecha Ball. You're like this you're a mecha ball that is like a top down perspective where it looks really kinetic and you just busting things down and shooting them up. There was the first Descendant, which is like a looter shooter, but it's like has like cool sci-fi outfits and like actions. I was like, oh, that looks dope. And then Hi-Fi Rush got DLC, which Hi-Fi Rush is also one of my favorite games of all time now. So
I still need to play Hi-Fi Rush, actually.
you gotta play Hi-Fi. It's so good. If I do have a request though, I think you should play the game with its streamer mode soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
That the streamer mode is incredibly good. The streamer mode music is incredibly good. I feel like you'll build like a strong connection with that music because of course it's not licensed songs that you may have already heard or may associate with something else.
That's
streamer
so the streamer mode is where the original music is, and then if you don't play on streamer mode, it's all just licensed songs.
It's the licensed music, yeah. Because if you stream the game, so you don't get copyright.
Yeah. That's really bizarre. That. I mean, I understand why you'd have a streamer mode, but I don't understand why you'd have licensed songs in the first place.
Because they thought of the songs when designing the game. So because like since what Hi-Fi Rush is, the gameplay is centered. You can go offbeat, but the music is just but the world, the action is designed to also go at the pace of the song that's currently playing. And the licensed songs are not all of the soundtrack is licensed songs. It's like some of the boss themes and certain specific scenes have licensed music, but the streamer mode music that they made is basically not parodies, but they use like the same rhythm or like this the song is kind of the same rhythm wise. However, I still think that they're better songs actually. And it's up because I really like the streamer mode versions way better. Streamer mode / original versions, air quotes, better than the licensed versions.
Fair enough. I'll give a listen of both and see what I prefer. But I am curious to hear what its original soundtrack is, because obviously new music, and so it might be good new music. So,
Mhm.
although like I don't know, the chat seems to be disagreeing with you, Phantom.
Well, they're wrong. How many of them actually play with
Everyone
the
is
streamer
saying
mode music?
everyone is disagreeing with you.
How many of them actually play with the streamer mode music?
I don't know.
Let me ask you all that, chat. How many did you actually play with that?
I'll find out when it goes on discount on Steam or something. I might get it so I can play it on the Steam Deck, and then
It is also on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, you can play it that way.
I do not have Game Pass. No, I'm
Damn.
like one of the few people who do not have Game Pass. Can you get Game Pass on the Steam Deck? Presumably you can, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, in the way that like you could install Windows
Yeah.
on the Steam Deck, and then you can access Game Pass, or you can stream it using the power of the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
That's it.
no, as in there's no native
Right,
Game Pass
okay,
thing
yeah.
on Linux.
I didn't think there was, but I hadn't actually checked. All right. Do we have any other things as we're coming up to the 2-hour mark on the stream? Any other games we want to mention? Anything about the showcases or this June
I
period?
guess. I mean, like, I guess Metal Gear's back,
Oh yeah.
That's true.
and not only is it back, but there's rumors that it's all back. that they're going to be bringing the volume 2. It's very interesting because I mentioned at the end of the direct, the rumor was that volume 2 had what was it? Portable Ops, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and Peace Walker.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Jez Gordon said that, or
Okay.
Jez Gordon, whatever his name is, the guy who's always like shilling Xbox on Twitter. But like, yeah, now IGN and like a bunch of other people are now reporting that it's going to be Peace Walker 4 and 5, which is crazy.
That is pretty wild, just to have 4
Yeah.
and 5 in a collection. Like, these are much bigger games than
Yeah.
2 and 3.
Well, like, I guess 5 kind of makes sense because it's already been something that's been like, like in a collection because it's technically 2 games.
Mhm.
So I guess so. But 4 is like insane because it's only ever been on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
About time.
I mean, I feel like if they want to release all the Metal Gear games, they kind of have to. So unless there's some sort of licensing thing with Sony, like there is for Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and it's why that game only released on the PlayStation.
I think it's
4.
really just that no one wanted to make the effort of porting it off. I think that like I know that's like the funny answer, but I think that is like the Occam's razor here. Because I mean there have been people that are like, oh yeah, it's got all those like Blu-ray quality cutscenes, which like, yeah, I mean just rip them off the disc. It's no problem. Super high bitrate 1080p video. There's been some people who are like, oh, but what about the like the iPod licensing in the game? I don't even think Apple, like, they would probably be okay with renewing that if they had to. It's not, they don't even make iPods anymore.
Yeah. And they can always just remove, they remove the licensing from the Pikmin games. So.
Yeah, I think it is just a situation where the PS3 was just a weird console, and Metal Gear Solid 4 is a game that, I mean, for a long time, people didn't even really like hold up in like a high regard. Like people said it was a reason to buy a PS3, but then people would also just kind of be like, it's more movie than video game anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when I bought my PS3, I didn't buy it for Metal Gear, but because I had one now, I was like, well, I may as well get Metal Gear Solid 4, and then like I don't even think I got out of the desert area, to be honest.
I goofed and I asked for the 80 gig PS3 instead of the MGS4 bundle, and now I can't play PS2 games on my PS3. I didn't know they were going to pull a fast one on me with that garbage. It's so stupid.
I do hope that there is gonna be a volume 3 that includes all the things that are not.
I think they will.
I hope so.
I was about to say,
Acid,
I can't.
1 and 2.
You're stealing my
please.
joke, Phantom. I was going to say that. I was going to say I can't wait for Volume 2 to actually be Acid 2, portable. Option.
I hope so.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, that would
so.
like theoretically it being like portable ops would and like Acid would make more sense because those games
Portable.
like both release and chronologically kind of come. I mean, 4 is the last game in the franchise, technically story-wise. So, like, I mean, playing Peace Walker after 4 is really weird because chronologically that is like way off. But like with portable ops and Acid, you might as well play those after playing 1 through 3.
In before they do Peace Walker and it's the PSP version, not the HD version.
Yeah, I was gonna say I really hope they keep like it is the HD collection version, and I hope they keep the online functionality. I know they're not gonna bring back MGO for anything. For Dead, they already haven't for 3, and they definitely won't for 4 and 5 if they re-release those. But I would really hope they keep the co-op aspect of Peace Walker intact. That's like something I never got to experience, and it's like it's seemingly very, 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 very fun.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of interested in if they were to re-release Acid and Acid 2, because those games haven't been re-released.
I think they would. I mean, they're like super non-can. They're like card games.
Yeah, like I mean, Metal Gear Acid was like the first Metal Gear game I played.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, never played Acid.
What an introduction. It's like your first Metal Gear game being Metal Gear Touch. It's like, all right.
Oh boy, I can't wait for that to be in Volume 2 as well.
But I mean, if they put the NES games, which aren't even, they're not even like ports. They're like almost like completely different video games altogether, and also quite bad. But if they're putting those in, I don't see why they wouldn't put like, if they're already planning on putting like Rising Revengeance in a collection, apparently, then yeah, I can see Acid and like Ghost Babel and Portable Ops and.
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to like what's a big console for like a big Metal Gear game console wise, and like what's a small thing that works in a collection. Because I think the thing with Acid 2, Portable Ops, and Ghost Babel, they were all obviously like the smaller handheld games.
Yeah,
so
I would want them to
done around all of them being together.
Yeah, I would want them to prioritize the mainline games anyway. It's actually like been kind of annoying that people are like, why? Like, I hope I hope they release like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance sooner than later, and it's like, no, they should fucking the actual video games themselves.
Yeah, I actually kind of
should be available.
Just thinking on it now, I kind of think like you could probably get away having a collection that is just Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5, given how big those games are.
Oh yeah, those are huge games.
Phantom Pain and Ground Zeroes as well, obviously, which is a much smaller game, but it's a requirement basically. And then having Volume 3 have Rising Revengeance be the main focus, because the only problem I think with a portable only Metal Gear collection is that people don't look at Portable Ops and Acid and Ghost Babel like nearly as fondly as they do the main numbered games.
I wouldn't say that about
as the front.
I wouldn't say that about Ghost Babel. People really like Ghost Babel.
Fair.
But yeah, definitely not Portable Ops and Acid. But then it makes sense because that's all those like the spin-offs.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just quarter those off.
Yeah, and then have 4, 5, and Peace Walker, I suppose, as well. I mean, the other option is to have Peace Walker be the focus with all the portable games because it was originally a portable game.
Yeah, but like. It is weird because like Peace Walker is a sequel to Portable Ops, and Portable Ops is a sequel to Metal Gear Solid 3, but because Kojima didn't work on it, it just like people are like, yeah, I mean it's kinda canon, I guess. Like it did happen, but who cares? It's like inconsequential to everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's all exciting. It's all very exciting. They also announced that it's getting a physical, and like most of it will not be on the cart, which is like whatever. Like year 6 of this console, what do you expect? Like,
yeah,
that's so frustrating.
These ports might be my first time to actually play a lot of these games. Metal Gear Solid 2 is the only one I've actually beaten, and I actually own Metal Gear Solid 1 and 3, but I've not even booted up 3. And Metal Gear Solid 1, I've gotten like partway through. I don't know how close across the game, but I did play it. So
I just realized how is like so in the original Metal Gear games, the PS2 had analog buttons, and so did the original Xbox. So you could hold the A button or the cross button or like the square button at like a certain pressure, and like it actually like would cause actions in the game. It's very weird because you don't expect a button to have that level of like analog control, but they somehow managed to pull it off. And then they just stopped doing that for video game consoles. The PS3 had it, but the Xbox didn't. So the Xbox 360 version of the HD collection moved all the analog stuff to the triggers because that's all that there's left. The Switch doesn't have any of that. So how is that going to work? I guess
the 360 didn't either.
Oh, it didn't? Oh, I thought it did.
No.
Oh, well then there you go. Never mind. I only played the collection on PS3, so I'm more familiar with that. But then there you go. That's
Yeah, I imagine it's just going to be a straight conversion of the 360 controls.
I think that's what it is. I mean, that's like the way to go.
Yeah.
People have played the shit out of the HD collection on 360. It's like, I mean, it's like one of the better like remasters, especially from that generation. But yeah,
it's just straight up like the best remaster, honestly.
Yeah. It also they also might be fixing things from the HD collection. I gotta find the tweet, but someone noticed that like a bunch of like in the screenshots, like certain transparencies and stuff that were like kind of broken in the HD collection are suddenly fixed in the screenshots.
That's neat.
Yeah, let me go find that.
I was gonna say earlier, but I couldn't find a place to interject. I've unfortunately played every Metal Gear game. There's a few ones that are not very good.
Like, here you go. Check a stream channel.
Portable Ops 5.
Hey, it didn't stop Konami from releasing the Game Boy Castlevania games. So it doesn't matter if it's bad. They'll throw it in the collection anyway to have more content. Yes.
Okay.
But
Cool.
all right, cool. I think this is a good time to wrap everything up. Do I have the end card actually as a thing? I don't. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Because
Yeah, now how does it feel now, huh?
XSplit like ejected all of my scenes for some reason, so I had to reset them all up again. I just forgot about this one. But yes, keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Oh, weird thing about the Batman collection they announced during the Direct.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if I mentioned this while we were streaming or not. But Asylum and City in that collection are not based on the PS4, Xbox One, UE4 ports. They're based on the original UE3 releases, apparently. At least based on like the texture work.
Interesting.
Which means it might look better.
That's a good sign. I never played Arkham Knight. Is it any good?
I've never played it either. I've heard it is very good. It just runs like doo-doo on everything, which is why I'm because it's amazing that it's on the Switch.
Because when it came out, I just heard nothing but people being disappointed with it. And after
it ran so bad. You couldn't like when you like drove around in like the Batmobile, like it was like 15 FPS. Like
all right, I've got the thing. So thank you everybody for watching the return of Good Morning Source Gaming after so long. We promise that we will keep it. We will have these be a bit more recurring stuff. I'm not going to promise it to be every single week because I know what it's like, but we will. So we will get back into the swing of doing things now over the summer, and just talking about gaming news and anything else that we want to talk about. So yes, I have a good one, I guess. I don't know. patrons are on screen, or they will be in a sec. I need this thing to loop. There we go. They're popping up on screen right now. Link to the Patreon, all that is below. And yeah, just have a good rest of your Sunday. And hopefully the gaming news will slow down for a little bit now that this is over. Right, anyway.
Doodles.
Doodles.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Afternoon. First game.